In 2021, I made a video about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. They were two people who created a shared belief that the world was ending and that there were people on the planet who were demons and needed to die. Unfortunately, two of those people were Lori's children. When I brought you the story, the couple had been arrested and hadn't been put on trial, so now I'm going to bring you a little update to let you know how it all ended. This is Monsters. This is one of the first videos that I'm making that's a follow-up to a previous video. I generally only cover a story when the monster in question has been convicted or is dead and there's little question about their guilt. I did do a second video regarding the story of Ryan Waller, but that was less of a follow-up and more of a correction to the entire story, since the news had gotten so many details wrong. I covered the story of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow almost 3 years ago in September of 2021. At the time, the case was ongoing, but the couple had been arrested and the remains of Lori's 2 children had been found on Chad's property. If you're not familiar with the details of this case, you should watch the video where I covered it. A link is in the description. To briefly recap, Lori Noreen Cox was born on June 26, 1973 in California and eventually ended up in Arizona. Lori was married 4 times before meeting Chad Daybell. She had a son named Colby with her second husband. She had a daughter named Tylee with her third husband. Then she met and married Charles Vallow, and the couple adopted Charles's grandnephew who had special needs. While Lori was still married to Charles, she met Chad Daybell, who was also married at the time, who she immediately started flirting with. Chad was born on August 11, 1968 in Provo, Utah, and was raised in a Mormon household just like Lori. He claimed to have had multiple near-death experiences when he was younger, and that made him able to see the spirit world. Lori became obsessed with Chad's radical beliefs about the end of the world and reincarnation. In July of 2019, Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, and it was determined at the time to be self-defense. In September of the same year, Lori's children, Tylee and JJ, disappeared. Then in October, Chad's wife, Tammy, mysteriously died in her sleep. After that, the Doomsday couple were unwilling to produce the children to authorities and they fled the area. They were eventually arrested when Chad's property was searched and the remains of the children were found in a shallow grave. When I ended my previous video, Lori had been deemed incompetent to stand trial and the prosecutor was seeking the death penalty for Chad. Lori was found unfit to stand trial in 2021, but a judge eventually reversed that decision. After the children's remains were found, authorities began investigating the deaths of both Charles Vallow and Tammy Daybell. Authorities in Arizona said that, after a new investigation, they believed the death of Charles was pre-planned and Lori was indicted on 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder in Maricopa County, Arizona. Tammy's body had not been autopsied after her death, so her body was exhumed and an autopsy was performed. It was revealed during Lori's trial that Tammy had died by asphyxiation. During that investigation, it was also discovered that Lori's brother, Alex Cox, had attempted to kill Tammy prior to her death. There had been an incident where Tammy told people someone had tried to shoot her with a paintball gun in her driveway, but she described what authorities thought sounded like an AR-15. Eventually, they found an AR-15 that belonged to Alex along with an internet search for how a Grendel round would impact a Dodge Dakota. Coincidentally, the same car that Tammy drove. Alex's cell phone had pinged near the Daybells' house on the night that she had encountered the gunman. Friends had heard Lori on the phone with someone that same night and she was angry, telling the person on the phone they were stupid. It's believed that Lori had instructed her brother to kill Tammy, but the gun had jammed and he wasn't able to. Lori's trial began on April 3, 2023, and she did not testify in her own defense. Her lawyer also didn't call a single witness. Their defense was basically to say she didn't do it. It was all other people. It was eventually revealed that, while Lori was at her apartment spending time with friends, Alex Cox killed her 2 children. But the reason he killed the children was because she wanted him to. Just like with Charles, Alex did the killing, but it was at the behest of his sister. Then Alex Cox conveniently died. Lori was like Charles Manson. Just because she didn't physically kill anyone didn't mean her hands weren't dirty. She manipulated her brother into killing multiple people, which made her just as guilty. Of course, part of her defense was that she herself was under the control of someone else, Chad Daybell. It was the same defense Chad himself would use, that he was under the spell of Lori. In May, the jury found Lori guilty on all counts. At her sentencing, she made a statement. She said, quote, "I would like to start by quoting John from the New Testament in the Bible. In John chapter 8, verse 7, Jesus says, 'He that is without sin among you, let him first cast the stone at her.' Then in the first verse, Jesus says, 'Ye judge after the flesh, I judge no man. And yet if I judge, my judgment is true.' Jesus knows me, and Jesus understands me. I mourn with all of you who mourn my children and Tammy. Accidental deaths happen. Suicides happen. Fatal side effects from medications happen." She went on to tell a story about dying while she was giving birth to Tylee and how her out-of-body experience made her able to see the spirit world. Conveniently the same thing Chad believed about his own near-death experiences. She went on to talk about seeing and talking to her children after their deaths. She said, quote, "One of the times that Tylee came to me as a spirit after she died, she said, she commanded me, and she said to me, 'Stop worrying, Mom, we are fine.' The first time JJ visited me after he passed away, he put his arm around me and he said to me, 'You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. I love you and I know you loved me every minute of my life.' My beautiful children Tylee Ashlyn and Joshua Jackson rest safely this day in the arms of Jesus. My wonderful friend Tammy Daybell rests safely this day in the arms of Jesus, and I look forward to the day when we're all reunited and I too will rest in the arms of my Jesus." Get the fuck out of here. If you had your children killed and you imagine their spirits coming to you and telling you that you didn't do anything wrong, that's what us here in reality call repressed guilt. Lori was given 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. She was then extradited to Arizona to stand trial for the charges against her there. She's pleaded not guilty to them, of course, and her trial will start in August of 2024 at the earliest. Either way, she will never see the outside of a prison cell. Chad's trial started on November 9, 2023, and his defense was that he was lured into the situation by Lori. His lawyer claimed that she had manipulated him through emotional and sexual control. 2 of Chad's children testified that their mother had been experiencing health problems and was getting extremely tired prior to her death. Every time I cover a case where children try to defend one parent after they killed another parent always gives me chills. 3 of Tammy's coworkers plus her sister testified for the prosecution that she seemed perfectly healthy up until the day before her death. The prosecution pointed to the evidence that showed that Chad was just as responsible for the deaths of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy due to his ridiculous nonsense regarding the end of the world and evil spirits. He pulled people in, manipulated them, and had them carry out acts for him. In May of 2024, Chad Daybell was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy in the deaths of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. He was also found guilty of grand theft by deception for the insurance fraud related to Tammy's murder. He was sentenced to death. I'm still not sure if either Chad or Lori really believe the crap that they were pushing, or if they're now playing the long game to continue claiming their innocence. At this point, I think it would be better off for them to know it's all nonsense and for them to just be evil. Otherwise, we have to accept that 2 people from 2 different parts of the country were able to come together and accept some spiritual belief that said children needed to be murdered. And then they were able to convince other people of that. I want to live in a world where human beings have an automatic resistance to being told that children need to die, and that eventually child-killing cults full of monsters will someday no longer be a thing. And I just want to add, in case Lori is still waiting, the world still hasn't ended. If you're a fan of true crime, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. You can also hit like or leave us a comment. You can check out our other show, Somewhere Sinister, on YouTube or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to support the show, check out our merchandise at thisismonsters.com. The link is in the description. Thanks again, and be safe.